mean more than the 5%. So that means other things that were supposed to be exempt would have to become unexempt. If the home builders, who are also lobbying, got their way and get what they wanted, there's another group that would probably push it over 5%. And other things like, well, your books, your fuel, the things that they say are going to be point-of-sale rebates would have to suffer because of it. The other day in the Times Colonist, there was an article on a report from the Council of Tourism Association. They are, again, a group that represents various members in the tourism industry. According to them, tourism generates $14 billion annually in revenue and employs over 131,000 people. According to them, the HST will raise prices on tourism products by 4.66%, and it will cost the folks in the building behind us $64.3 million in lost revenues. They estimate tourism revenue will drop between $363 and $545 million annually. They estimate direct job losses between 3,446 to 5,174 jobs in that industry. Indirect job losses because of this related to the industry could be between 6,997 and 10,505 jobs. They estimate losses from tourism revenue for 3 levels of government. We'll start with municipal. They stand to lose $14.2 million. The province stands to lose $64.3 million. The federal government stands to lose $79 million. And the other group I mentioned, the BC Restaurant Food Association, they estimate, and I have to stress, this will not affect them so much themselves as a business. Their concerns are because of people like you and me who are going to be paying more taxes, have less disposable income, and not be able to go out. That is where their expenses are coming from here. They expect a sales decrease of $1 billion. They expect job losses between 14,000 and 16,000 jobs. Now, you need to know too that all this money that supposedly will be generated by the HST, as I understand it, is going to general revenue. Not one thin dime will go to help fix all the cuts in the arts and cultural area. Not one thin dime will go into healthcare. Not one thin dime will go into education. It goes into general revenue for them to do what they see fit with. Now, a few other things I've come across that also may be of interest. If you want to try and figure out exactly how much this is going to cost, the easiest way is, the government says $1.9 billion in sales tax will be shifted from the people who should be paying it, the businesses, onto the backs of us. $1.9 billion divided by a population of 4.4 million people, $432 per person on average. Now, put that in perspective though. This fella here, for example, isn't going to have to pay that $432. His parents will be eating that up. So, you know, a family of 4, $1,600, roughly. The TD Bank did an analysis of the effect of the HST to consumers in BC and Ontario. Their report concludes that 21.4% of the goods and services that we buy will be subject to the HST, and on average, prices will rise at 1.5%. Now, as an addition to that, they keep pointing back east and they keep saying, prices only went up about 1% there. They forget to tell you that when they combined their sales tax with the GST, they actually reduced the sales tax by about 3%. So really, in my mind, that means it didn't go up 1.5%, it went up about 4.5%. I don't know about you, but I can't afford that. As it was mentioned earlier, that $1.6 billion, well, it's not really a gift, it is our money. It's just coming back to us, that's all. Now, a few other things you may find interesting that I've discovered. I was looking at things that were PST exempt that now are going to be subject to the harmonized sales tax. And again, bear with me, I got far too much paper here. Almost there. There we go. So, based on government's own figures on what is exempt and what the potential lost revenues are on those for sales tax, now that things are merged and they are going to be taxed, BC residents will be paying roughly $55 million a year more on their school supplies. At least $82 million a year more in basic telephone and cable service. $63 million more for your books, magazine, and newspaper subscriptions. At least $8 million more for your bicycles. So much for that green initiative. At least $13 million more, and again, green initiative here, thermal insulation construction materials. $5 million more if you happen to be energy conscious and want to buy hybrid electric vehicles. If you're going to go for the conventional fuel efficient vehicles, at least $11 million more in this province. Here's a fun one. Energy Star qualified residential refrigerators, clothes washers, and freezers, at least $5 million more in taxes. $3 million more for energy efficient residential gas-fired water heaters. $2 million more for insulation for hot water tanks, hot and cold water pipes, and ductwork. May not be a big deal here in Victoria because we don't get that cold. Anybody pretty much anywhere else in this province, they're going to be paying that. They can't say for sure because some portion of basic groceries will still be exempt, but it will be some portion of $991 million on your food and restaurant meals. And again, because electricity and natural gas will not be exempt, but fuel oil, marine diesel, aviation fuel will be exempt. Can't say specifically, but some portion of $211 million for residential fuels. Now, there is one other thing that I would like to bring to your attention before I pass off to the next speaker. Provincial sales tax, the way it used to be for a business, you could claim that against your taxable income at the end of the year. You won't be doing that anymore. So, that means that even though there is no technical tax increase on businesses, the government, both federal and provincial, stands to benefit from this. Again, using the $1.9 billion figure of the government's, you can expect that the province will gain approximately $199.5 million in taxes from businesses on things that they used to be able to claim, the PST. The feds are going to gain about $342 million in extra corporate income tax because of the HST. And I would also like to point out too that, I looked at the Liberals website before all this came through. I looked at it again afterwards. They have all sorts of wonderful information about how they are so business friendly, about how they are lowering taxes to make this a more competitive place. Minister Ian Black, small labor minister, is on a video, and he outright says that we have the lowest corporate and business taxes, if not in Canada, in the world. So you know what? If we're not competitive already, we don't want them. And that's pretty much all I really have to say about that. I actually have a lot more to say, but I could be here for an hour and a half or two myself. Anyways, I will hand it over to the next speaker.
Thank you very much, Brad. Well, if those numbers don't sober you up, I don't know what will. It's